my theme music. Every good hero. Let you have some.
Hi, everyone. This is Tim with Online Big Blue, bringing you the best in New York Giants sports talk and entertainment. And again, that's my theme music, because I am a hero. Actually, no, I'm a villain. I had a great comment on the YouTube page that Online Big Blue is the villain we need but don't deserve. I thought that was very apropos, because you want to know why?
You need people like me so you can point your fucking fingers and say, that's the bad guy.
And I take revel in being the bad guy, because I'm not a bad guy. I'm just honest. And honesty will always save the day.
That phrase is trademark, not to use it as a tradition of Ricky Bobby.
So let's talk about the New York Football Giants. Let's talk about Russell Wilson. Let's talk about Xavier, the X-Man McKinney. It used to be X-Man was O'Shane Zimenez, but of course O'Shane, can we see, has disappeared off the face of the planet. But how, and I think I think every Giant fan was elated when we were able to pick up Xavier McKinney in the second round. Of course, he lost most of his rookie season to a foot injury. But he's come back. He's come back, and over the last, I would say, 5-6 games, I would say going back to probably, if you want to take a look at it, going back to, I would say, the Rams game, even though it was a 38-11 loss. He has played well. He has shown his wares. He has shown the ability to be what we thought he could be in the secondary. A guy that can create turnovers, a guy that can get the interceptions. As much as I like Peppers, because he's a Jersey guy, he's not the coverage guy that McKinney is, and that's what I've always said even before we drafted McKinney, that he's like Peppers, but he does not play as well in the box as Peppers does, because Peppers basically plays like a linebacker, and I believe something like 67% of his snaps, Peppers is in the box. McKinney can be moved all over the field. He can cover. He can play deep. He can play in the box. Does he have the tackling wherewithal that a Peppers has? No, but he's a different player. And I think that's the way you got to look at him. He is, in some ways, he's the modern hybrid safety. He can cover. He can play the run. While he covers better than he can play the run, he's still more than adequate run stopper. And he can create turnovers, and that's what we need. We need someone that can create turnovers. I mean, he's got 5 interceptions going back to October 17th, where he had 2 in the Rams game. He had another 2 in the win against the Raiders. Without those interceptions, we don't win the game. And the same thing again against the Eagles. Without that interception, we probably don't win the game. So he's shown that he could play. What I would like to see, and I do find this interesting, and I've talked about this before millions of times, I would like to see more players on the defense play as much as Xavier McKinney. And I've said this before. If you go back to week 3, that Xavier McKinney played in 98% of the snaps. He has played in 100% of the defensive snaps going back to October 3rd. And I've said this about the defense of Patrick Graham. It needs to be a defense of versatility, not substitution. You need to have the same 11 guys on the field, but playing multiple positions. And a player like Xavier McKinney fits that to a T. And let's say, he is having if you look at it, he is having his Pro Bowl season. 11 games, 10 starts, 5 interceptions. He's got 64 yards and a touchdown, total yards on the interception, a touchdown. As long as one was 41. He's got 9 pass defenses, 61 combined tackles. I would like to see him get some more tackles from loss. I would like to see him blitzing more. He's got no sacks in his entire career. He's only got 1 tackle for a loss in his entire career. So I would like to see him attacking the line of scrimmage more. But then again, you can't have it both ways. You can't have him in coverage and also playing in the box. But I think he could be used more as a blitzer, because we need all the help we can get in reference to getting sacks. So that would be my only bugaboo with him. And it's not with him, it's with Patrick Graham. I think at times he could use his versatility to bring him on the blitz, to keep him more up on the line, to attack the ball carriers. He's only 22 years old. He's going to be around here for a while. He's not a Landon Collins. Landon Collins had that one big year, then he got exposed because of his deficiencies in his ability to cover. Xavier McKinney's not that guy. Xavier McKinney is one of those guys that you want him to be a prototypical giant safety. Myron Guyton, going back to Myron Guyton days. You know, Myron Guyton was so underrated with the Giants. It's unbelievable. Xavier McKinney, I don't think is going to be that way. I think Xavier McKinney is going to be a star. And I think a lot of Giant fans felt that way when we drafted. I think most Giant fans felt that way when we drafted him. I want to talk about these crazy Russell Wilson rumors to the Giants. And I see these things on Twitter when they post Russell Wilson stats and Deshaun Watson stats and say, football is the ultimate team sport. Wow, that's one of the stupidest comments I've ever heard. If it was me and we were in a stream and you told me that, you know what I would tell you?
Get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
Because a lot of times that's preached by people that never played the game and understand the fact that the quarterback can't affect the game. You cannot take 2 statistical seasons by Deshaun Watson and one by Russell Wilson and say, oh, this is what the entire league is. There have been plenty of bad teams that won because they had great quarterbacks. So to say that a quarterback cannot cover some of the deficiencies of your team, you're not really watching the sport. You're not really watching the game. You don't really understand the nuances of the game. There are plenty of horrible teams, or bad teams with bad there are plenty of teams that had terrible defenses and great quarterbacks that made the playoffs. There are plenty of teams that had horrid offensive lines, good defenses, and a great quarterback and made the playoffs. They said it a million times. A quarterback gets too much of the blame and it gets too much of the praise. But a quarterback can't affect your team. You drop Russell Wilson in on this team, even with this offensive line, Russell Wilson is winning more games than Daniel Jones. Plain and simple. Case in point. Fact. You want to debate it, go ahead. But you're going to be debating yourself because I don't debate stupid. Sorry. The way this Giants defense plays at times and the ability that we have on some of the ball, some of our skilled players, you know Russell Wilson's going to find the guy. You know Russell Wilson's going to be able to scan the defense, and Russell Wilson is smart enough to know to take a 3-step drop and throw the ball. For all the times that people say how horrid the offensive line is, the line wouldn't be as bad if Daniel Jones didn't hold on to the ball as long. I think he's 3rd or 4th in the league in reference to holding on to the ball. And he's not looking, that's the scary thing, he's not looking deep. You put Russell Wilson on this team, I guarantee you would have 3 more wins. And that's with a bad offensive line and a supposedly bad offense. So for all the people that sit there and go, a quarterback is just one part of the team and he can't overcome a bad team. No, a quarterback can't overcome a bad team. There's been plenty of bad teams that have had good quarterbacks to great quarterbacks that made the playoffs. Plenty of them. That is a simplistic view of football. And that aggravates me. You could tell that aggravates me. You could tell that a lot that aggravates me. And I just wish that people would think before they do things. People say that I don't think. No, I actually think before I post things or do a video. And again, it's my opinion. But when you statistically, and I've seen it all over Twitter, when you statistically take 2 quarterbacks in 2 seasons and call that the norm for the league, that is doing a disservice to the people that actually understand and know football. Just throwing that out there. But can we get Russell Wilson? Should we get Russell Wilson? Seattle looks like they want to make a change from their soon-to-be 33-year-old or 34-year-old quarterback. They want to get out probably from underneath that contract, which is there's a potential out in 2022. So you would still need to incur the number for 2022. So it would be interesting. It would be interesting. So, basically it's a 3-year. You wouldn't incur the out because it's an out in 2022. So you would have to do the 3-year deal, which he signed with 3 years, $100 million. And he got his big money in 19, big money in 22, and big money in 2021. So he could get out of the contract. There's a potential out. He's got a full no trade clause. So that would probably have to be, if we're going to do some type of trade, that would probably have to be looked at as well. And then we would have to negotiate a contract. The biggest issue would be, of course, we have no salary cap. Our salary cap is terrible. Salary cap is god-awful. How are you going to bring in a quarterback he would have to take a deal like some of these Giants have done before where he turns around and he accepts a small amount of money right now and then takes a bigger amount of money later. And people are going to put the point to this loss to the Washington football team as, oh, see, look, they should get rid of him now because he was horrible against Washington. Russell Wilson is probably the only quarterback that I know that last season where they went 12-4, had 40 touchdowns and 13 receptions, threw for over 4,000 yards. And people in Seattle were like, what's wrong with Russell Wilson? It's crazy to me. You give those statistics to Daniel Jones. He's anointed the king of New York, and I'm not talking Christopher Walken. This season alone, his team is 2-6, but he's completed almost 65% of his passes, over 1,800 yards, 12 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Again, you would be the king of New York with those stats. With those stats alone right now. And I think that if you will take a look at Russell Wilson, he's not the same guy he was 4 years ago. They're not making the playoffs. And people are going to be like, what's wrong with Russell Wilson in the offense? Well, you know, sometimes you just have an off year. Sometimes things don't work as well as you think they're going to work. There are many variables. If you want to hear many variables, you just talk to Daniel Jones fans. Because they will tell you everything that is wrong with the offense besides Daniel Jones. So, I mean, he still threw 2 great passes to Tyler Lockett and what's his name, Gerald Everett, for touchdowns. He's showing he's still the quarterback that he is. Next gen stats are going to be like, oh, he did this and do this. If you could put Russell Wilson on this team, that would be awesome. But here's the biggest problem about trying to put Russell Wilson on the Giants. Like I said, 2 big problems: cap space, and the Giants should not give away their 2 first-round draft choices, especially if they're going to be in the top 10. I would give away 1, potentially, and depending on who has the worst record, I would swap 1, but I would not give away both for Russell Wilson. Because of the fact that, not that I believe in Daniel Jones, I just believe there's better options to going out there to finding your bridge quarterback or finding a quarterback in the draft. And we still need defensive line help. Someone asked me, would you, if certain players were there above our old buddy, Malik Willis, who I just love talking about because it just pisses people off. If there were certain people there, like Hutchinson and some other people, would you take him over Malik Willis? And I would go with the defensive end before Malik Willis, and because we have 2 draft choices. We have 2 first-round picks. If we're picking twice in the 10th, in the top 10, I'm probably taking the defensive end of Malik Willis. And I love now how all the prognosticators of the draft, there's multitudes of them now, that even have the Malik Willis going as high as 5 to the Giants. But I love the fans that sit there and go, well, I saw the old Miss game, and that's all I needed to see. Well, if that was the case, I could think of about 8 horrid games that Daniel Jones had at Duke. So you never would have drafted Daniel Jones then. Just throwing that out there. We're going to have a fun quiz on Wednesday's video. That quiz is, what kind of Giant fan am I? Am I objective fan? Do I see things? Or am I a fan that just is a homer? It's going to be fun. It's not meant to offend anyone. And if it does offend you, I don't care. Because I want to do it anyways. But it's an honest way to assess your fandom. And I think it'll be, it's good. And you know me, it's going to be fun. It's going to be interesting. And again, this is Tim with Online Big Blue, bringing you the best in New York Giants sports talk and entertainment. And once again, that's my theme music. Every good hero should have some.